Hey everyone, and welcome back to Unique Old Coins Value. Ever find yourself sifting through a jar of old pennies, your fingers turning a dusty copper green, wondering if you're just wasting your time? What if I told you that a common-looking penny from a common year could be hiding a secret that makes it worth not 1 cent, but hundreds, or even thousands of dollars? Today, we're diving deep into a coin that almost all of us have seen, the 1976 Lincoln Memorial Penny. It's a piece of bicentennial history, but is it a piece of hidden treasure? We're going to break down its circulated value, show you exactly what to look for, and uncover the incredible error varieties that make this one of the most exciting modern pennies to hunt for. Stick around, because you're going to want to check your change after this. 1976 was a monumental year in the United States. The nation was celebrating its 200th birthday. Everything was red, white, blue, and featured that iconic bicentennial logo. The U.S. Mint went all out, releasing special commemorative quarters, half dollars, and dollars. But the humble penny? It stayed the course. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design, introduced in 1959, was still going strong. There was no special design for the cent in 1976. However, that doesn't make it any less interesting to us collectors. In 1976, over 4.6 billion pennies were struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. That's a massive number. Because so many were made, finding a worn, circulated 1976 penny is extremely easy. But that sheer volume is also what makes the rare errors and high-grade survivors so special. Alright, let's get to the nitty-gritty. First, you need to identify your coin. Look under the date on the obverse, heads, side. You'll either see a small letter D or nothing at all. No mint mark asterisk asterisk. This means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. D mint mark asterisk asterisk struck at the Denver Mint. Now, for the vast, and I mean vast, majority of these pennies, their value in circulated condition is exactly what you think. 1 cent. Let's talk grades. A circulated coin shows wear. Light wear on the highest points, like Lincoln's cheek and the coat lapel. Most details are sharp. You might find these in an old draw. Significant wear. Lincoln's hair detail is flat, but the major outlines are clear. Good, G4, heavily worn. The date and legends might be weak but are still readable. For a standard 1976 P or 1976 D penny in these circulated conditions, the value is purely face value for spending, or a small premium if you're a collector trying to fill a Whitman album. Maybe 5 to 25 cents per coin. Here's where it starts to get interesting. While a worn 1976 penny is common, a perfect 1976 penny is not. Remember, these coins have been bouncing around in pockets and cash registers for almost 50 years. Finding one that looks like it just left the mint is rare. An uncirculated coin has zero wear. It never entered public circulation. It might have bag marks from contact with other coins, but its luster is original and intact. An uncirculated 1976 D penny might be worth 50 cents to $1. A 1976 P, no mint mark, tends to be worth a touch more, around $1 to $3 in brilliant uncirculated condition, because fewer were saved in pristine condition directly from the Philadelphia Mint. This is it, folks. The reason you need to look at every single 1976 penny. The mint was operating at maximum capacity, and with billions of coins flying off the presses, mistakes happened. And these mistakes are what collectors dream of. This is the holy grail for this year. A double die occurs when the hub that impresses the design onto the working die shifts slightly between impressions, creating a doubling effect. This doubling is then transferred to every coin struck by that error die. Look for clear doubling on the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." It will look blurred or shadowed. This is not machine doubling, which is flat and shelf-like. This is true, raised doubling. Value. Asterisk asterisk. A circulated 1976 DDO penny, even in a lower grade like fine, can be worth $150 to $500 plus. In uncirculated condition, values can soar into the thousands. This is the big one. Much rarer. This doubling would appear on the reverse, on the United States of America, or 1 cent lettering. If you find one of these, you've hit a monumental collectible. Values are significant, often starting in the hundreds of dollars even for circulated examples. This is when the coin blank isn't struck correctly in the collar, resulting in a misaligned impression. The value depends on the percentage off-center. A 5% off-center might be worth $10 to $20. A 50% off-center could be worth $100 or more. So, how do you become a coin hunter? It's simple. Asterisk get a magnifier A5X or 10X jeweler's loupe is cheap and essential. Look carefully, examine the lettering on every 1976 penny. Look for that doubling, look for odd strikes. Compare if you think you have something, search online for images of 1976 DDO, and compare yours. The differences can be subtle. If you think you found a potential error coin, asterisk handle it by the edges. Asterisk asterisk don't get fingerprints on the surfaces, or not clean it. Asterisk asterisk cleaning destroys the surface and numismatic value instantly. Consider getting it certified for a potential double die. Sending it to a service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading is a great investment. It validates the coin and maximizes its value. So, let's recap. Your average circulated 1976 penny is worth 1 cent. A nice uncirculated example can be worth $1 to $3. But a true error coin, like the famed double die obverse, can turn that 1 cent into hundreds or thousands of dollars in any condition. The magic of coin collecting isn't just about the metal, it's about the hunt. It's about holding history in your hand and having the knowledge to see what everyone else overlooks. The 1980 Lincoln Memorial sent this little guy. Over 7 billion pennies were minted in 1980. That's billion with a B. So, the burning question for most of you is, what is my circulated 1980 penny worth? Well, grab your coin jars, because we're about to find out. We'll break it down by mint mark, by condition, and we'll also talk about the rare error varieties that could actually make your 1980 penny worth hundreds of dollars. The 1980 penny agenda with bullet points. 1. The basics and mintage. 2. Circulated value breakdown. 3. Key dates and mint marks. 4. The small date myth. 5. Valuable error coins. The Lincoln Memorial Cent was minted from 1959 to 2008. The 1980 issue is a very common late series coin. It's made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, and it has a diameter of 19 mm. Now, the key to understanding value is often the mintage figure. How many were made? In 1980, pennies were made at 3 different mints. These are not circulation strikes, and we'll talk about them later. So, right off the bat, we're dealing with 2 of the highest mintage years in U.S. history. That means finding a 1980 penny is incredibly easy. But that doesn't mean they're all worthless. Let's answer the big question head-on. If you have a 1980 penny that has been spent, passed around, and shows signs of wear, what we call circulated, its value is almost always, I know, anticlimactic. But it's the truth. The vast majority of 1980D and 1980P, no mint mark, pennies are only worth their face value if they are worn. They are so common that even in a grade we call extremely fine, with only light wear on the highest points, they might only be worth 2 to 5 cents to a dedicated collector trying to fill an album. See this one? The date is weak, Lincoln's cheek is smooth from wear, the details on the memorial on the reverse are flat. This is a textbook example of a coin worth 1 cent. Its value is in its metal content, not its numismatic value. So, is there a key date? A rarer version that's more valuable even in circulated condition? For 1980, the answer is, not really. The Philadelphia and Denver issues are both extremely common. The S mint mark pennies were not released into circulation. They were specially struck on polished planchets with polished dies to create a brilliant, mirror-like finish. These were sold directly to collectors in proof sets. While you could theoretically find one in circulation, maybe from a broken set, it's highly unlikely circulated 1980 S-proof coin would be a tragedy. Its value would be greatly diminished. In perfect proof condition, they are worth around $2 to $3. If it's spent and worn, it might only be worth 10 to 25 cents, simply because it's still neat to find now. This is where things get interesting, and where a lot of confusion online comes from. Many of you have probably heard about the 1960 small date penny, which is very valuable. So you might be Googling 1980 small date. Here's the fact: there is no such thing as a 1980 small date variety. ***, the U.S. Mint only used one date size for the Lincoln cent in 1980. All the numbers in the date are the same size on every single penny minted that year. So, if you see a website or a YouTube video claiming you have a rare 1980 small date, it is incorrect. You might have a coin that looks a little different due to a slightly weaker strike or wear, but it is not a distinct, valuable variety. Don't get your hopes up on that one, okay? We've talked about the common stuff. But what if I told you that a few 1980 pennies are worth serious money? We're talking hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And it's all thanks to errors. The massive production run in 1980 meant the minting machinery was running flat out, and errors happened. Here's what to look for on your circulated 1980 pennies. This is the big one. DDO means the die used to strike the coin itself had doubling on it, so that doubling was transferred to every coin struck by that faulty die. For the 1980, look for clear doubling on the date, particularly the 8 and the 0, and on the word Liberty on the left side of the coin. This is not wear or machine doubling. It's dramatic and distinct. Circulated 1980 DDO penny, even in a lower grade, can be worth $200 to $500. In higher grades, value goes up from there. This happens when the coin blank isn't struck correctly in the collar. Part of the design is missing. The value depends on how far off-center it is. A 5% off-center might be worth $5 to $10. A dramatic 50% off-center coin could be worth $50 to $100 or more, even in circulated condition. This is when the coin is struck without the restraining collar, causing it to spread out like a pancake. It'll be wider than a normal penny and have no reading on the edge. These can fetch $20 to $40. So, to recap, your average worn 1980 P or 1980 D penny is worth 1 cent. But you need to carefully check each one for those rare error varieties. Here's your action plan: get a magnifying glass or use your phone's macro camera. Asterisk asterisk, you need to see the fine details. Sort by mint mark. Asterisk asterisk, separate your P, no mark, and D coins. Examine the date and Liberty asterisk asterisk for any signs of strong doubling. Look for anything weird. Is the design off-center? Is the coin a different shape? Is there a weird raised line on it, a cut break? The fun of coin collecting isn't always about finding $1 million treasure. It's about the hunt. It's about holding a piece of history from over 40 years ago and wondering about all the hands it's passed through. The 1980 penny is a common coin, but it's a perfect place to start training your eye to spot the rare ones. The 1981 Lincoln cent is part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. It features Victor David Brenner's classic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo on the reverse. Now, here's the crucial part. In 1981, the mint was producing pennies using two different metal compositions. Pre-1982 composition asterisk asterisk 95% copper, 5% zinc, weight 3.11 grams. Post 1982 composition asterisk asterisk 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper, copper plating, weight 2.5 grams. That's right. 1982 was the official changeover year, but the mint started experimenting and transitioning in 1981. This means there are both heavy copper coins and light zinc coins dated 1981. This alone makes the year interesting, but the real story is in the mint marks and the varieties. In 1981, pennies were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; San Francisco, S mint mark. But these were only proof coins for collector's sets, so, for circulation, you're looking for Philadelphia and Denver coins. Let's talk numbers. Big mintage usually means common coin. And for the most part, that's true here. Because of these massive numbers, a typical worn 1981 P or 1981 D penny is still just worth 1 cent. Its value is purely metallic. If it's the heavy copper type, its copper content is worth about 2 to 3 cents, but it's illegal to melt them down. So as a coin, in circulated condition, it's face value. This is the first key to unlocking value. Any common coin, if preserved in pristine, mint state condition, can be worth a premium to collectors. 1981 penny graded MS-60, uncirculated but with some marks, might only be worth 25 to 50 cents. But if you find one that is brilliantly red, full luster, no contact marks, what we call red, RD, condition, the value starts to climb. On-screen text with examples: 1981, PMS, 65 RD asterisk asterisk $$5 to $$10 1981, DMS. 65 RD asterisk asterisk $$5 to $$10. So if you find a 1981 penny that looks like it just came off the press, with that beautiful red copper shine, set it aside. Don't clean it, just put it in a protective holder. Its value isn't life-changing, but it's certainly more than 1 cent. Host speaks directly to the camera with intense focus. Graphics and arrows appear on screen to highlight the details. This is it. The king of 1981 pennies. And it didn't even come from circulation. It came from the San Francisco Mint in proof sets. In 1981, the San Francisco Mint was producing proof coins with a new, clearer, and sharper design. This is known as the Type II reverse. The original, used for decades, is the Type I reverse. Type I reverse. The steps of the Lincoln Memorial are flat and less detailed. The lines blend together. Type II reverse ***. The steps are sharply defined, clear, and deeply serrated. You can see individual lines. The Type II reverse is dramatically different and much more desirable. It was only used for a short time in 1981, and it's significantly rarer than the standard Type I proof. How do you find one? ***, you need to look at a 1981 S-proof penny. If the steps on the Lincoln Memorial are clear and defined, you have a Type II. On-screen text with price examples 1981 S mint mark, proof, Type I, common $**$ $2 to $3 1981 S mint mark, proof, Type II, rare $**$ $25 to $50 and way more if graded. Hide a perfect Gem PR 70 RD deep cameo example of the Type II sold at auction for over $1,000. If you have a 1981 proof set, take it out carefully and examine that penny. Beyond the famous S-mint proof, there are a few other things to look for. There are rumored double die obverse DDO varieties for 1981, particularly from the Philadelphia Mint. These are coins where the date or lettering appears doubled due to a misalignment in the die-making process. These are much rarer and require a keen eye or professional grading to authenticate. A genuine 1981 PDDO could be worth over $100 even in circulated condition. If you see blurring or doubling on the obverse lettering, it might be worth getting checked out. So, let's recap. How do you hunt for a valuable 1981 penny? Check your proof sets ***. If you have a 1981 S-proof coin, examine the reverse. Look for those clear, serrated steps on the memorial, the Type II reverse. Look for uncirculated coins ***. Search for that brilliant red luster. A shiny 1981 P or 1981 D in an old coin roll could be worth a few dollars. Weigh them ***. If you have a precise scale, weigh your 1981 pennies. A weight of 3.1 grams means it's valuable copper. 2.5 grams means it's zinc. While the zinc ones aren't more valuable, it's cool to own a transitional year piece. Inspect the date ***, get a magnifying glass and look for any signs of doubling on the obverse. You might just get lucky. The 1981 penny is a fascinating piece of modern American coin history. It's a reminder that even in the most common places, there can be hidden rarity and value. It's not just a 1-cent coin, it's a story of transition, minting techniques, and collector passion. Today's subject, the 1988 Lincoln cent. Over 10.2 billion pennies were minted across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco in 1988. That's a mountain of copper-plated zinc. With numbers that high, you'd think they're all worthless, right? Well, not quite. Hidden among those billions are a handful of dramatic minting mistakes, errors so unique and sought after that they command insane prices from collectors. And then, there's the reality for the other 99.9999% of them. So, let's get our magnifying glasses ready. To understand the 1988 penny, we need a quick history lesson. The Lincoln cent is a classic, first minted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The reverse design we see in 1988, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, was introduced in 1959, but a huge change happened in 1982. Due to the rising cost of copper, the U.S. Mint switched from a 95% copper composition to a core of 99.2% zinc, plated with a thin layer of 2.5% copper. So, every single 1988 penny is made of this zinc core. If you ever see one that looks bronze and feels heavy, it's from 1981 or earlier. For 1988, there were 3 mints in Operation Philadelphia, no mint mark ***, the main mint. By far the most common. Denver, D mint mark ***, also incredibly common. San Francisco, S mint mark. This is where things get interesting. In 1988, San Francisco only produced proof coins for collector sets. They were not meant for circulation. I know, it's not the exciting get-rich-quick news you might have hoped for. But why? It's simple economics, supply and demand. With billions made, The supply is virtually infinite. And while there's always a demand for pennies, the demand for a common, circulated 1988 penny is basically zero. No collector is paying a premium for something they can get from any cash register in America. Their value is purely face value. However, some people will save rolls of them for their copper content, but even that is a long-term, bulk volume game. So, if you have a jar of these, your best bet is still to take them to a coin counting machine and get your $50. But you didn't click on this video for that. You clicked because you heard about the rare ones, the errors, the monsters. So let's talk about what actually makes a 1988 penny valuable. The real treasure hunt begins with mint errors. These are coins that slipped through quality control with mistakes that make them unique. For 1988, a few key errors stand out. This is the holy grail for 1988 pennies. A double die occurs when the hub imprints an additional, slightly offset image onto the coin die. This creates a distinct doubling effect, especially visible on the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and Liberty's profile. A genuine, high-grade 1988 double die penny can be worth $150 to over $500 even in circulated condition. But be warned, this is often confused with machine doubling, which is much more common and worthless. True double die has split, secondary lines. If you think you have one, you must get it authenticated. This is another popular variety. It happens when a mint mark is punched into the die more than once, and in a slightly different position. You'll see a distinct doubling or shadow around the D mint mark on the obverse of the coin. A confirmed 1988 D RPM can fetch anywhere from $5 to $50 plus, depending on the severity of the repunching and the coin's condition. This is a dramatic error everyone can spot. The coin blank wasn't seated correctly in the press and got struck off-center. The value depends on how far off-center it is and if the date is still visible. A 10% off-center might be worth $10 to $20. A 50% off-center with the date visible? That could be $50 to $100 plus now. What about that San Francisco mint? As I said, they only made proof coins. These were struck on specially polished planchets with polished dies to create a brilliant, mirror-like finish. They were sold directly to collectors in sets, so if you ever find a 1988 penny in your change, it would be a huge anomaly. Someone must have broken open a proof set and spent it. In perfect, uncirculated proof condition, it's worth about 25 to 50 cents. But if it's been circulating, it's scratched, dull, and worn. Its value drops right back to 1 cent. The premium is for the condition, not the date. So, how do you hunt for these? Your best tools are a simple magnifying glass and good light. Go through your coins slowly. Look at the date and mint mark. Do the letters look blurry or doubled? Is the strike crooked? Check every single one. Remember, for every one valuable error coin, there are millions of common ones. But that's what makes the hunt so exciting. You never know. So, the final verdict. The circulated value of a standard 1988 penny is 1 cent, but its potential value, if it's a rare error, is limited only by what a collector is willing to pay. It's a reminder that history and value are often hidden in plain sight. What's the coolest coin you've ever found in circulation? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button and subscribe for more content every week. And hit the bell so you don't miss our next video, where we'll be investigating the 2004 Wisconsin quarter errors. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting!